Uh, Creator, I appreciate it. Okay, so okay, imagine that you go to the birthday, you go to the birthdays, and we're going to 3 in the morning. Drank too much for that, and I couldn't even wake up at 8 in the morning to have some classes, and hopefully my wife is here. And how's everybody doing so far? Is that good, people? Um, your light treating you well? Okay, so now what happens? Overall, is this one semester over? Yeah, you can have some fun, whatever the grade you give. I'm happy with that as long as I pass the course, right? Maybe something like that. I know it's almost like, yeah, it was just we were so that serious, like to wait for Thanksgiving, and after Thanksgiving, just want to have a final exam, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, just up that. So I'm still a little sick for that. Oh, you have midterms exam coming up soon. Yeah, every single time you have one midterm, and then we have another midterm for another class, and after all of those is over, now we have this coming second midterm. It's already, it's already like that. Feeling calm but before the storm. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. So we're gonna catch up a lot of work. So hopefully that you're not gonna be alone, because well, some of your friends is going to feel the same way, right? You guys might taking like you guys might have taken like in all of this classes together. I'm not sure, but it's gonna be a lot of fun when you have some people like doing the same courses, asking for help. Okay, so that would be fantastic. Anyhow, um, yeah, so I hope that all of you is going to stay. I'm expecting to have another kid this December. You know how busy I am? Oh my goodness, becoming a dad is so hard sometimes. And but it's a lot of fun. You can help you watch and take care of the kids, just doing some baby stuff, wipe his ass and oh, it's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And it might be really hard for her um, you know, before giving birth. So I want, sometime I might ask you guys to take the final exam a little earlier instead of the day, because we're expecting to have the kids on December 23rd, like a day before Christmas. That is, can it be? Yeah, of course. And if you want to babysit, you might have to stay with my Anatica is so naughty. This is like it's just want to have fun every single time. Even if my wife's like very and we're both very sleepy, but still have to wake us up to do his own things. So people have to watch him playing the games or doing some crazy stuff. Oh my goodness, it was so stressful. My child is like almost 3. It turned 3 this March, and he's still like learning how to speak multiple languages, and that's a lot of fun that we to play around. I wish I had. You will sooner, but don't get married too early. I have to speak very slow because once my wife knew it, I will be getting in trouble. Um, don't get married too early. All right. So I hope that all of you are doing great. All right. My wife's here, and obviously I don't want to uh, mess up with her. To be completely honest, let me just let me to be that serious, that honest with you. I actually want to go to. I wish I could teach a class in the bathroom, but she was like, "No, you cannot do that. This is your responsibility to do it here." I was like, "Oh my, this is nature course. I really have to go." And she was like, "No, you have to stay outside." I was like, seriously, my microphone's still working there, but you cannot do it at the same time. All right, so I'm gonna hold it back until 8, I believe, and that's gonna work. Okay. Anyhow, so sometimes don't take my jokes seriously, but it's just something that you know I just want to let you know. And anyhow, I think that's pretty much the things that we have so far. And so let me just go back to the yeah, Victoria. Is here Victoria? Vic. Yeah, I haven't really posted chapter 11 summary, which I promised you to do so, but I'm so busy. I'm getting sick sometime, drank too much on Monday. A lot of things happening. Would you forgive me for that? Yes. Thank you so much for your forgiveness. Anyhow, so we're gonna continue. So we go back to my lab. To be honest, I can't really walk to my sister house. It's getting so cold outside. It's just a few blocks away, but it's still something that I do not want to take a risk to get sick tomorrow. Forgiven, got you. And so today we will be finishing chapter 10, and then we're gonna have a class read. Okay, so we're gonna have another two more chapters. Okay, so we're going to finish chapter 11 and chapter 12, and we're going to have the exam review on 22nd, and then the exam on 22nd if we want to. Okay, other than that, we might have the exam on 29th. Okay, so we have a few days to decide. And then I promise you guys that I wrote a survey, but that's too easy for that. And I would do it soon. I would do it this Wednesday. Okay, I'm so sorry about about that since life is not easy. And after that, we're going to have another chapter is going to be the last chapter. And then after that, we're going to have a final exam. So I will be spending like 2 or 3 lectures for the final exams. And then after that, we just call the entire semester. Okay. And then I will see you no more. I hope that all of you are going to pass. I feel like it's really hard to fail my class, to be honest. And if you fail, it's shame on you. But sometimes it's okay. But if you go to the class every day, I believe it's doable. I'm not saying it's really hard, but it's pretty doable for that. Oh, really? Okay. The school just never remember my birthday. I wish they could take me to the party and using the helicopter. The college doesn't have its own helicopter, to be honest. Or maybe buy a luxury car. Hopefully, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Oh, have you ever tried helicopter at the city park? It's like $300 for that. And I tried once, but it's a very long time ago when I was still young. Yeah. Oh, really? That would be great. Thank you so much. I'm still improving a lot. I'm trying to learn as well. To teach more effectively. I'm not sure if telling joke is one way, but definitely it's going to be something that I'm going to keep up with. Okay, so a lot of you might be considering a different approach, which is called a p-value approach for chapter 10, but I got rid of it because I feel like it's not necessary. The p-value and the critical value approach basically the same thing, but one that we're going to look at the statistical values, and the other one that we look at the probability perspective. Okay, so the p-value is something that you might have on the homework problems, and then I will definitely gonna show you maybe one time to deal with them. Okay, and if you need more help for the homework toward the end of semester, I will show you how you do it. Okay, and do not worry about this. I'll take care of you. All right, so now we're going to go to some practice problem. I believe that this is going to be very, very complicated chapter. I told you guys, chapter 10 is the main focus for the entire course because most of the statistical analysis is based upon the hypothesis test. Okay, so the hypothesis when we try to make some assumptions and then we want to know what it is. All right. So the things that we want to deal with is let's go for question number 4 or question number 5 and see what's going on. Okay. So the question number 4, and the reason why I'm doing those two questions because those are just have different tails, so one tail or two tails. So you're definitely gonna know the difference. Okay, so let's go for it. And ta-da, you're gonna have this chapter 10, and we're gonna have for the hypothesis testing. Okay, here we go. Continue. And we're gonna do it on a t-test, okay? And the z-test for proportion. All right, so now I'm going to just copy and paste for the questions. I mean, the process always be like the same, no matter what kind of analysis that we get it done. The process here that we're going to deal with, we're going to put down the mean and the standard deviation. So it's coming from the sample. Okay, so whenever you see the mean and standard deviation after the end, this is what we have to do the t-test. Okay, so first we have 30 accounting majors. Wow, we have 30 people. I mean, this question was a long time ago, to be honest, but I believe it's something that we still looking for. And now we're going to have the average. So the average should be somewhat 49,000. I don't know why I just give you guys those crazy numbers. Why should I round them up to like 250,000 or just 49,000 just to make the question easier? Well, I mean, this question I took from, one of the resources. It's been a long time ago. Okay, so and on the exam we try to round them up for that reason, just make it easier to compute. Okay, and if you ask me like why this is 49,850, I don't know. Okay, I just got it from a certain resources. Okay, so analysis, and then we also have the standard deviation. So the standard deviation after follow is followed by the end and the x bar, and then this is going to be the sample standard deviation. So that is 3,300. Okay. All right. So now the questions also ask the keyword for that. The keyword is higher than 2000 average. So this is what we're trying to test. Okay, a very important thing that when you do on the exams. Yeah. Oh my, you have MU. Oh, come on. What is that? I love that. I love that because all the people just gonna do it like MU, M instead of like mu. It's just yes. I don't know. I just have a really sad feeling about the Greek literature. It's drove me crazy. Is that most of my students could not really write the mu correctly. So I just asked them to just raise a letter, just change that to the capital AIM. I'm gonna get you full credit for that. Okay, then that become a lot simpler. So this when we start up the hypothesis is a core, so that we going to put down HO and HA, right? So don't tell me this is what do you the hydrogen the high, whatever. I just forgot the terms in chemistry. Hydrogen. Yes, that's correct. If it's a long time, would you forgive me for that? Because I'm not teaching chemistry. I wish I could. Yeah, I did the quantum chemistry a long time ago, and it's do with the wave equations, all kind of things. But, all I said, I haven't used it for a long time, so I just forgot the terms. Yeah, hydrogen, something like that. Okay, it's not this. Okay, don't get confused with all of this. This is just HO, which is kind of no hypothesis, and HA is going to be the alternative hypothesis, right? Well, wouldn't HA be the mu? No. The keyword for that is greater than. So the HA will be something that we're trying to put down for the analysis. So for instance, we're trying to test if the mean. Oh my goodness, my hand is shaking right now so hard. Okay, let me just calm down a little bit. So the mean is it's really hard to draw using this laptop, to be honest. So it's greater than um, 48,722. Okay, and this is the thing that we're gonna put it on the alternative hypothesis. It's really hard to breathe right now. I have a cough. I drank too much. I got sick. I have a sore throat. On Monday, couldn't wake up. Have to drink a cup of milk. My wife waked me up and then got angry. So there's a lot of things going on. But anyhow, life is life. Life is tough. Yeah, my wife is tougher. Anyhow, so we're gonna have the mean. You're gonna put that a mean. I hope that she couldn't understand what we're saying. Very low here. Anyhow, so the mean that we have to test will be equal to 48,722. Are we good with that? So the top, you have to set the equal, and then the bottom that we have to set the big greater than. The greater than is coming from the question. Remember that we're going to have a very low chance to accept the HA. So in this question, going to be 2%. Okay, so that reason why the HA going to be on the bottom part. It will be corresponding to what the question is testing at the higher than. Does it make sense to us? So higher than is greater, right? Yes. Okay, and apparently this is going to be a one-tailed test, right? One-tailed test. Oh my goodness, this. I have some. I'm using the same mouse, but my house has worked better. I'm sorry, but my sister had worked better than this one for some reason. Let me just do that again. Yeah, now it's worked a lot better. So this is one tail. Okay. It's actually the right tail because we're testing on the right. It's greater than the greater than is going to be in the right tail basically. So the next step that we're going to compute the t statistics, right? So the t statistics going to be computed using the formula for that. So let me just zoom in a little bigger so we can see through the values for t. Okay, so remember that we have to run the t-test. Why we have to do the t-test? Because we're going to see the snack, right? So when we have the snack, then we have to deal with the t. So the t-test is going to take the x bar minus the means, right? So x bar is something that we are having given, and subtract the means and divide it by the standard deviation, okay? Okay, and then we divide it by standard deviation. Okay, and we divide it by S. And then after that, we go into multiply by radical n. Okay, so you're gonna use these formulas over and over again until the end of semester. Yeah. So over radical n. So now we're gonna just plug in the values, and of course, this time I cannot use the calculator. It doesn't work, so I have to ask for help from Google. If some of you can help me, that would be great. So we're gonna take 49,850, and then we subtract. Oh my goodness, you got so fast in here now. You guys, so you're going to beat the Victoria record for that reason, and then we subtract the mean was the what is the mean? So the mean is not known, right? So if you ask me what it is, I would say this is what we call the hypothesis, right? The mean is usually something that we trying to test. We just don't know what it is. So the mean is basically on the hydro side, right? HO, and then it's actually 40,722. But this is not no. This is what we're trying to test, right? You're gonna take that, and then we're gonna close the parentheses. Is that good, people? Is that good? That's and oh yeah. I mean, you don't get points for that, which is very discouraging statement. But you might, I might note you at the end of semester. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things going on. Yeah, that's what I mean. Point. Let me tell you something. I have known people who have got like poor 4.0 GPA, but it's actually sometimes it's not doing really well. I can tell you, like, including myself, that the people who study really well in the class sometimes is not very good at doing something else, just like me, right? Sometimes I have a lot of trouble like taking care of my kids or doing some diapers, laundries, all of these things. This is happening. It's just all about like balancing your life. Have you ever heard of like the statement like 95% of the professors cannot do business at all. Sometimes this is bias. Obviously, this is coming from the Elon Musk statement. He tweeted like one day saying that, well, you know, sometimes doing business has nothing to do with the study at all. But sometimes with the people with a good study can do a lot of things. That makes sense. There's a lot of things going on, but I believe studying hard is one way that we can, bridge the gap faster, like go to our careers a lot faster. I believe that. Yeah, truly believe that. But of course, we have to take care of the other things. You have to pick up more skills in a lot of ways. So that's also equally important. So okay, so we divided by the S. The S. Yeah, that is on. I'm that serious. I got a lot of complaint. I got a lot of complaint from my wife, to be honest. Yes. Usually, yes, 0.02 is the confidence level is 98%. It's pretty much like that. You can think of it that way. So 2% meaning that if you want me to explain the reason why people pay alpha at 2%, so if the analysis is very important, so we can take 1% the alpha or 2% up to 5%. If the analysis is not that critical, so we might take like 10% alpha, meaning that you're gonna get that percentage for some mistakes, the risk. So we're taking 10% risk. Okay, so it's just the meaning of it. And there's no argue that, so sometimes people when they run a certain report, they take 1%. So you want your report to be very critical. Yeah. Usually when the T is big, then we go into then we're going to say that the testing is correct, the hypothesis is correct. So we're going to check that real quick, and then the S that we have is 3,300, and then we multiply by the radical n. So let me just do that on the calculator. And India just got it. I believe her answers is correct as well. And I would say this is 1.87, correct? Any concern for that? Okay. Now you wanna, fight with your friends and well, I don't think that's correct. It's 1.87 too. Come on, it's Sam. Oh yeah, that's you have a better answers for that. I'm just kidding. Okay, that's perfectly cool. I would say this is very meticulous, like giving me three decimal numbers. It might be the requirement for website. I believe the website always asks us to leave three decimal places. Yeah, this is what we trying to get at. But if you give me two decimal places, I'll be perfectly happy. I'm not like websites like, need a lot of care. I don't need to, right? So I just need you guys to give me two decimal points. That would be, you know, a lot of fun, a lot of good things. All right, it's a 1.872, so that's going to be the T-score. And after that, we're going to go for the critical values, right? We call TC. Okay, so the TC depends on two things. The first we call the degree of freedom. So the degree of freedom is 30 minus 1, and that is 29. So the reason why we have to take that, because this is a t-test. So we do the degree of freedom in chapter 9, and then you're going to see that again in chapter 10. And then the second thing that we're going to look at will be the alpha equal to 2%.
Where you at? I'm at home.
Oh, you're at home, right?
I need to drop my data.
You have to drop your data, as I understand, but it's a class. We gotta take care of that after class, so that's gonna be a lot better. So the alpha is 2%. So we're gonna look at the t-test. I believe it's right here. Go to information table. All right. Yeah, this laptop isn't that bad. I only downloaded like 3 times, but another laptop that I had, my sister had, I downloaded more than 15 times. So whenever I deleted the file, I had to do it 15 times in a row. That's annoying. So now we're gonna go for table number 4, and then we're gonna go to critical values of 29, and then the alpha is 2%. Oh my goodness, we don't have 2%. Yeah, I feel so sorry for giving you guys this question, but we don't have 2%, do we? Yeah, we don't have 2%. What happening? Yeah, I'm so sorry about this. I'm trying to think like, yeah, I remember that the T test, the table 4 doesn't have 2% for one tail area. Yeah, so all right. So you might get a full credit for that on the exam if it asks you to do like 2%, I believe. I'm so sorry for that. This question is not right. So let's take this. Okay. Okay. So the thing is, so the first thing that we have to do with is we're gonna go to the degree of freedom is go to 29, correct? And then the next things is we want to look at either, I would say like between 2.025 or 0.01. Okay. And that's me. That being said, so 2.02 is basically bounded between whatever. So can I change the question a little bit instead of like 0.02? I changed that to 0.01. I don't think that we can do 0.01 for this chapter. Okay, I'm so sorry about that though. Yeah, so it should be 0.01 here. Okay, and then the alpha should be 0.01 because we don't have 0.02 on the chart. I mean, we can still figure out the answers, but it's gonna be a lot harder compared to what we have found on the chart. I don't want to give you a lot of heart attack before the exams, so I decided to change. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is have to be the one tail area, right? So we have to determine that this number has to be one tail. And then the next thing that we have to do is we go into look for 0.01, right? 0.01. So why this is one tail area? Because it is something that is going on a greater than or less than, so we have to be the one tail area. Okay, and then finally that we're gonna look at the degree of freedom equal to 29, and that's going to give it the final answers, which is 2.462. Are we good? Are we good with that? $2.462. Yes, sounds good. Yeah, I'm so sorry. There was some question on this. This is trying to mess me up. And then, and how we can testify the answers. So this is the right tail, so we're gonna keep positive part. And then we're going to write them down if the T less than the TC, correct? And then we're going to say what? If this guy's smaller than that, in absolute value, something like this. So we're going to say reject H1, HA, okay? No, HA is wrong. It's HA is wrong because let me tell you this, okay? HA is not correct. HA is not correct. Let me just make that clear on the exam so that you don't make the same mistakes. So the TC is going to be the thing that we're going to test. We're going to use, okay? The TC is going to be the thing that we're going to use. All right. And then, so what we have for the TC is 2.462. Okay. So you want to make sure that one of the analysis have to be on this region, okay, on this region in order to be accepted, the H1, right? So it have to be greater. It have to be no. It's actually on the right. So I think I'm making mistakes right here. I just put it on the left side for some reason. I'm so sorry with this. So it should be on the right, and then the TC it should be around here. So this is 2.462, and then this is gonna be the critical values. And then what we're going to look at is the T values. So if the T value is less than this, so it's basically in the undecided region, so we can't say anything about that. Okay, so if the t is greater than 2.462, then we would say, all right, HA is correct. Okay, HA is the correct answers for that. Okay, so we're going to reject HA if the t is actually here or here. Okay, or here. But if you have a certain things, let's say the t is greater than 2.462, so basically something around this corner, then we're going to accept H1. Okay. So because the null hypothesis and then the alternate hypothesis are two different hypotheses, they have the opposite form from each other. So when we reject H, meaning that you have to accept another, but in fact, we cannot accept HO because this is, we call it null hypothesis. This is the thing that we're trying to reject. Okay, so we can never reject the wrong things. All we need to do, we just fail to reject. You just put something like that in statistics. Okay, so in statistics, we cannot accept the hydroxide. I'm sorry, it cannot accept the null hypothesis. Okay, the reason behind that, because this is the thing that we not trying to deal with. It's something that we trying to fail it so we can get the other one correct. Okay, so we can never accept HO for that reason. Okay, so the only thing that we can do is just fail to reject HO and then reject HA. But I feel like writing those letters is going to be a lot of work. So what I'm saying, what I'm doing so far, I'm just going to tell you that, well, just reject HA when you have the T less than TC, okay? So on the left, you gotta be careful. On the left side, if this is negative 2.462, and if this is negative 1.872. So the easiest way that we can avoid the left and the right tail difference, so we're going to take the absolute value, okay? We're going to take only for the numbers, and then we can make that conclusion along the way. So let's say if this is negative 2.462 on the left, and this is negative 1.872, we still have to reject HA, okay? Because the absolute value is less than. Okay, so I believe that's going to be a problem. Now we're going to go to another questions really quick for that. Is that clear to everyone? Is that clear? I'm planning out to do like 3 lectures, and hopefully that you guys going to get it after homework number, after question number 5. Okay. All right, so let me see. Question number 5 here. The paper described the study of academic performance and attention span reported at the meantime of distractions for teenage boys working on independent tasks for 4 minutes. Wow, that's a lot of times. For me, it's like 2 hours. 4 minutes, that's so small. Yeah, we have a lot of things to deal with. We have like Twitter, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have a lot of things, YouTube, TikToks. That's correct. I forgot to list that. Kalei is always like 1 second faster than I do. Okay, so and then a lot of things that we consider. So we try to test if Australia, why not Americans? I don't know what happened with this question. I just take them Australians. They're gonna speak with some Aussie accent. That's like really cool. Anyhow, and then so we're gonna go for so this is what we assume, right? So this is the thing, the assumption usually is something that we try to test, okay? We try to test 4 minutes, okay? We're not quite sure, but this is what the article reported, right? But we're not quite sure yet. But now we're going to put down the n equal to 25, and then the mean was that? Oh, this is also the average from our report. So it's 4 minutes. So the X bar is 4 minutes. And this is, it was based upon, yeah, it was not given from the article. It's actually based upon 25 teenage Australian boys. So X bar is 4 minutes for that. So X bar equal to 4. Yeah. And then the standard deviation is equal to 1.4. And if you see from the homework problem from the website, there are actually some questions does not give you the mean and standard deviation. They're gonna give you like a bunch of data set and you have to compute a mean and standard deviation from chapter 10. It was just so annoying. And then the alpha rate that we take is 1%. I just want to make sure that it's not 2%, but let's check itself. And we're gonna have the HA and HO, okay? All right, and this is the first thing that we have to do. And now we're going to highlight the keyword for that. Different, okay, different from 5 minutes. So you want to check if actually it's not equal to 5 minutes. So the top is still be, yes, not equal to, very, very straightforward. And okay, my hand is getting better. Okay, so we're gonna put Liddell, this is not equal to. Okay, so not equal to mean this. Okay, not equal to 5. And on top of that, we're going to put that the mean equal to 5. Now you completely understand why I hate mu, because I can never join it, right? This is the only reason why I don't like mu. Yes, you're gonna have to do it for two-tailed test. It's very, very ahead of us. So we're gonna go for two-tailed. So why the two-tailed? It's the reason why it's going for a two-tailed because basically, and a lot of people are going to ask me the same question again, because the different meaning that we have to consider on both left and then the right. Okay, so not equal to means what? So it can be either on the left tail or on the right tail. So or meaning I have to combine them. Okay, so it's the reason why I have to consider on both sides of this. And then I can use the chapter 8. I can use the chapter 9 perspective. Some of you might be thinking to compute a confidence interval of 99%. And then you can see the range. If the range does not include 5 minutes, we good to go. Okay, if the range include 5 minutes, then we're not good to go. So we're going to say we cannot include anything about the mean is different from 5 minutes. Okay, when we see the class work, you're go into, I can post solution afterwards. Oh my goodness, Victoria, I haven't started problem yet. Now you give me the answers. What are you trying to do? Okay, I might ask you to explain it after class. Oh, okay, that would be a lot of fun. I'm just kidding. I won't let you do that unless you insist on doing it. I still remember I taught the class saying that I just asked everybody just get on the one new problem. You know what I did? I just sit down like a student and put my legs up and tell some joke to my student, to my friends back there. How is she doing? Oh, she's wonderful. How he's doing this is he's hot. He's doing a great job in the board. You have some chit chat along the way. Okay, I'm just kidding. So we're gonna go for X bar. Will be 4 minutes minus 5. So the 5 equal to it would be the hypothesis test and divide. So remember, don't mess up with the X bar and the mean. So the mean that we have is from the hypothesized perspective, right? So the mean equal to 5. Okay, the mean equal to 5 here. Yeah. And so we divided by standard deviation is 1.4. Is that good, people? And then we multiply by radical n. So radical 25. All right, so we have different answers. So let me just decide it. Oh, you did some mistake for that. Oh, that's cool. It's okay to have some mistakes for it. I just take away 2 points from the exam for making that mistakes. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna add point for you, of course. We're gonna take 4 minus 5 over 1.4 and times radical 25. Yeah, I might consider like taking points away from people who got more than 100, maybe 100 points on the exams, and add it to the people who speak, who do the job in the class. Does it make sense or not? It's good. Okay, so we got the answer, which is named 3.57. Yeah, so those calculations not quite easy. So I really want you guys to, to do it on a calculator. So we take 4 minus 5 and divided by 1.4 and times the square root of 25 in this case. Okay, so, and that's pretty much the thing that we're looking for. And then we got the answers in this case would be equal to negative 3.57. And now we're gonna go for the critical values. The critical values are gonna be on the two-toe, right? So this is two-toe, and what else do we need to look at? So we're going to look at the DF would be equal to 24. We take away 1 from 25, and then we also have the alpha equal to 0.01. I have to put down the word alpha because I do not want to draw the letters for that reason. So now we're going to look at the chart. So 24, and then we have to go for the two-toe area. Okay, so let me just do that real quick. Two-toe. Okay. And then we have, that one was 20, was that 24. So that's 24 is here. Okay. Okay. So the critical values that we might have. So now we're gonna go for like two-toe area. So two-toe area, and the degree of freedom is 24. Okay, so two-toe we're gonna look at 1%. So 1% is right here. So 0.01, correct? And then we're gonna go all the way down. So remember, you have to go for two-toe area, and then we go all the way down to get 2.797. Is that good? Okay, so you got to be careful when you compare the critical values, correct? You got to be careful for that. If you're not quite sure how to do it, I think that we can do the graph for this. But if you know what you do, it's gonna take the absolute values, right? And then so the T greater than TC in this case. But in terms of the absolute value, so I believe it's gonna be better. So the T is greater than TC, right? Okay. So we're going to accept H1, HJ. Oh my goodness, the kids outside just said happy birthday. What a shame. My birthday just passed 2 days ago. Oh, okay. So the YTC is negative because the T values that we look at is also negative, even if we're testing on a different. But it can be either go to the left or go to the right. Doesn't matter which direction is go. But when you have the T negative, then the TCs have to go to the corresponding negative values. Okay. Yeah, you're very welcome. I mean, this is a good question to ask though. If we have because to be completely honest, we have people who make a mistake like that on the exam. Oh my goodness, my mountain is just really crazy to draw. All right, so now we're gonna, so this is what we have for the TC, right? So the TCs that we have is negative 2.9, 2.797, okay? And then, so we're going to make sure that it's outside of it, right? So now you know the reason why I take the absolute values, correct? Because we want to make sure that it stay out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me just summarize it. It's gonna be something easier to deal with. Oh my, now this one is less than and the other one is greater than. I think it's, yeah, okay. So, and then we're going to uh, do this part, okay? So whatever the value that stays here, we're going to accept no hypothesis. Yeah, so the negative 3.57 is basically on the accepting regions, on the accepting actually region for that. So that reason why we're going to put them down, and then we're going to accept actually. So summarizing the hypothesis, I believe it's going to be very important. Summary, right? Summary, how are we going to reject or accept actually, right? Reject or accept actually. Are we good? Are we good with that? Okay. So you have your own way. I would prefer people draw some mountains and doing some stuff like that. But if you don't want to do it that way, so I would suggest you to do uh, the absolute values. So the T is something that we computed, right? From the step number 2, the TC is something that we found on the chart. If the T less than the TC is what happening, we're going to reject a J. Okay, is that good? Is that good? In absolute value, it's just whatever you ignore. Sometimes we have to put the sides because the side matter is on a level right tail, but when you take the absolute values mean the same. But on the exam, you have to keep the negative. If the you have to keep the negative side, if the T, you have to keep the T's negative side, the T is negative, or you have to keep the TC's positive if the T is positive. Okay. And but sooner or later, when you take the absolute value, you just only care about the displacement, right? The amplitude for that. So we don't the amplitude. We don't really care much about the the psi and so on and so forth. Is that good? And if the T is greater than the TC, and we're going to accept actually. Okay. Yes. And some of you might be thinking on the homework, you might have to write them down. The question might not ask you to what does that mean by reject actually, meaning that you fail to reject actually, right? And then when you accept actually, meaning that you reject actual. Oh my goodness. So I just don't want to do it like on both sides, but it's just write something like that on the exams. I give you full credit for it. But from the website, because the old guy require a lot of explanations and a lot of things that you have to put it down. So reject actually meaning that you have to accept actual, but you can't use the word accept. So you have to do like reject actual. Accept XJ, meaning that you have to reject XJ. Okay, so this is a thing that we going to have for the analysis. It works for every single thing. It's not only for C, but it's only for T. It's not only for T. It's also for Z, for chi-square, for anything like that. Okay. All right. So I believe that's pretty much it. Now we're gonna go for next part. It's almost time. I know. Just give me another 15 minutes. I'm gonna wrap this up. Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna test for the proportion test. Okay. So let me just go to the next slide. Just want to make sure that we know what it is. 10.2 test for proportion. Yeah, that's gonna be something that we have to deal with. It's gonna be pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna show you a different way of doing the problem. Yeah, of course. I would definitely gonna post this after class or after it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You're very welcome, Ellie. And now we're gonna go for the things. We're gonna do the same thing for the hypothesis, right? So we have the populations, the big N, and we call this is a population. Okay. And then of course, we're going to need a small sample. Okay. And then, so this is what we call a small n. if you ask me how many times do I draw these pictures until the end of semester, I can tell you that. It's pretty much like that because the statistics only work that way. We only work for a sample. That's correct, color, and it's just the way that we do with that. And then the P gonna be the proportions, right? The population proportions, and then the so this is gonna be the P, and then the P hat's gonna be the sample proportion. Okay, so it's just like when I ask the people, like, how many of you who want to take the final exam campus? So we're gonna take our class as a sample, and then we can make some assumption based upon a sample on the population, and then we're gonna test on that. Okay, so the hypothesis is pretty much the same thing, that we're gonna use the P to test the P hat. Okay, test on the P hat. Okay, I'm sorry, you just P hat to test on the P. I'm sorry for that. It's just talk the opposite for that. Oh, none of us. Oh, so it's gonna be 0%. So we don't have to test for anything. It should have to be correct. At least one person going to say yes, right? You want to take the exam on campus, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Yeah, 2% is better. And sometimes it's work out for 2%. Oh, really? So I still enjoy drawing it though, because it is the diagram that I developed from one generation to another generation. I might pass this on to the next generation for you guys to continue drawing when you have a chance to teach statistics course for your kids, or whatever it is. Yeah, so we test on P, the population proportion. So the question is pretty much going to be the same thing. But I'm not gonna making fun of like the percentage of people who would be willing to take the exam on campus. Let's say 2% is gonna be a little bit insulting. I think 10% matters. It makes more sense. 0% is a little exaggeration for that. Let's take a look at the question number 2. I believe that's gonna make sense. It's very similar to the classwork problem, and let's do it that way. Oh, hold on a second. To be completely honest, is every single step going to follow the same strategy, right? For that process testing is just like this, okay? This is the end of chapter 10. It's almost done. And I would say the hardest part that we have is statistics, okay? It's not about like doing the hypothesis, like proving stuff, like how we actually use the P hat instead of the P, and so on and so forth. So I just want to rewrite the formula for the Z-test, the Z-score that we have done from chapter 8, okay? So the Z equal to what? The Z equal to, just wanna remind you, that would be the P hat minus the P, okay? And divided by the square root of the P times 1 minus P over N, okay? So this is what we have learned from chapter 8, and then we're gonna continue using that on chapter 10 and hopefully chapter 11. Yeah. Doesn't get any better. Yeah, chapter 11 is actually the most complicated chapter in terms of the calculation, but the step is pretty much the same thing. If you understand the concept, and the other thing is just like, okay, we can just let it go. The concepts, the hardest concept is how we're going to develop the hypothesis, and how we're going to prove that the proportions follow the Z normal curve. That's the only thing. And other than that, is just something that we're going to just write them down here. So the P, so greater than 0.1/3. So this is what we're trying to test, right? We want to test the P is greater than 0.13. Are we good with that? So we have to be on the XJ. Remember the thing that we're trying to test. So the question always be like, is there enough? Is there sufficient evidence to conclude? Every single question always start the same, right? So we want to see if there any evidence for this. It's like an old teachers is going to tell you exactly what we have to do on it. And then very important for chapter 10, yeah, they want to justify something that is obvious. And so Mr. Obvious. So the thing is, for every single chapter that we have is always rewrite it with a mu. We never write the X bar, right? We cannot put the P hat on the hypothesis. The thing that we have to test will be on the population. Remember, we test on the population, proportional population. Just want to make sure that we don't get confused. We always use the sample. I draw this one 6, maybe 7 times. I don't quite remember. I keep drawing it. So because I just want to make sure that the statistic is something that we have the information at hand, but the decision that we make is have to be on the jungle, right? So we want to shed some light from the sample and see what the jungle looks like. So the population will be something that you have to stay on top of the hypothesis. Is that good? Yeah. And then, so this one have to be the right tail because of the fact that the P is greater than. Okay, so we have to be on the right tail. It looks really, really ugly for this. So this has to be on the right tail. Okay. Is that good? Is that good? And then we're gonna go for the font for that. I feel like it's just going to make it a little bigger. Okay, so we're gonna have the Z equal to we just use this chapter. It's just literally the chapter 8 minus the P hat minus the P, and over the radical of P times 1 minus P over N. Okay, so very, very careful with that, okay? So when it comes to chapter 9, when you develop the confidence interval, then we have to use P hat. When we come to chapter 8 and chapter 10, when you divide it, the radical things, you have to divide it with the P, okay? The P is 0.13. Okay, so the P hat, what is the P hat? The P hat in this case, I did not really indicate it at the very beginning of the question. This is my fault. The P hat should be given from the question at the very beginning. So we have this one is 20%. Okay. Oh my goodness. We receive a lot of commercial ads every single time that we get on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or something like that. And then the end, they go to 5,500. Okay, are we good with that? And then all we need to do, we just plug in the value. So we're gonna take 0.2 minus 0.13. So let me just change the marker for that just a little bit. And so they can see through the difference between the P hat and the P's. And how do you know which one's gonna be the P hat and which one's gonna be the P? Well, I mean, the P hat usually come after the N, right? And then the P usually came before the keyword, like greater than or different from, less than or something like that. Okay, so this is gonna be a thing that we're going to keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're gonna take like 0.13 times 1 minus 0.13, and then we divide it by N equal to 5,500. Are we good with that? Yes. Oh, that was 15, something like that. It's gonna be really, really big and tragic. So let me just try to do it on the go and see if. Okay, let me just try them out real quick. Okay, so 0.2 minus 0.13 over square root of 0.13 times 0.73, 87 over 5,500. Tragically, it's actually 15.4. Wow, that's really big. Yeah, the answer is usually yes. Yeah, 15.4. Okay, and then let me just copy down this calculation real quick for that. There's no difference between chapter A and chapter 10 for proportions calculations. Basically means the same. The only thing I would say is they will be different when we look at the calculation, the hypothesis testing. Okay, so now we're gonna go for the ZC. It's gonna be the same thing, right? It's gonna be the same thing, but the ZC does not depends on uh, does not depends on the ZC. You can look at we can look it up right here. For right tail, this is the right tail at 1%, right? Right tail 1% is 2.33. Is that good? People see that? Are we good? What happens? Was that? No, okay, that's fine, that's fine. Oh, my kid is crying, is looking for phones or something like this. Oh yeah, that's okay. It's happening. All right, so yes, yeah, XJ is absolutely good because this guy's really big. All right, so we're gonna conclude that the Z is greater than the ZC, and then we're going to save that. We're going to reject HA. That's it. Okay, is that good? I'm sorry, accept HA. I'm sorry, that is just my kids just messed me up. So we're going to accept HA and reject HA. Are we good? All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And another way that we can solve a problem is just going to draw a picture like that, and of course I will let you go after this. Okay, another way that we can do it. Whenever you see something Z is really big, and then definitely going to be the final answers. Okay, and then the testing will be 2.33 is right here, correct? And then the values for the Z is actually bigger. It's actually really big for that. It's like 15.4. It's almost way all the way to the right, to be honest. Okay. So meaning that the XA is good. So we're going to conclude that yes, it's greater than 0.13. We have to accept this. Are we good? Any concern for that? Any question? Any question? If you don't like using table number 3B, 3C, I'm sorry, we can't just go to one tail and then 0.01. We go all the way to the bottom, so you're gonna get the same thing. But it's not gonna be like 2 decimal. It's gonna be 3 decimal 2.326. So this is the Z score. This is the Z. The last row that we have for the T gonna be the Z score. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it. And I really enjoy like having you guys in this class. I hope that you're going to make me proud. The second exam at the seams, it's a lot harder compared to the third exam. The third exam is you go around with some standard deviation, some average, and so on and so forth. But the second exam becomes a lot tougher. And of course that we're going to have some classwork. Is I hate to take attendance, to be honest. Yeah, oh, come on. I haven't started saying yet. I hate taking attendance. You don't have to say here because I won't count you anyway. So I will going to go for classwork number 6. The easiest way they can avoid taking attendance to just give you a classwork for that very, very beautiful thing to do. Okay, classwork number 6. Oh my goodness, we have 6 people doing that. Is it classwork number 6? And then we're gonna give this as 1 point as well. Limit 10. What time do you want to take? Like the classwork here? Not a problem.
Do they? You're gonna take it now? Oh, come on, Abu, you gotta be kidding me. So you want to take it tomorrow? Oh my goodness, just do it now. Just do it now. That would be awesome, right? That would be awesome. Okay, I can make it due tomorrow. All right, just do you a favor for that. But you can't take the quiz. You can't take the classwork. Imagine that you're gonna start a classwork at 11:58 p.m. That's gonna be a lot crazy to finish it in a minute for that. Oh yeah, make it like next week, Matt is gotta be kidding me. How is that hard? Make it do next week. All right, so you're gonna eat up the entire questions. You're gonna ask for help. You go it. Oh, come on, just do something with the question. All right, so yeah, we're not gonna eat up all the question for me. I hope that you guys going to enjoy the weekend. I'm very glad that you guys keep up the work. You know, chapter 10 is very serious chapter. There's a lot of concern, a lot of things going on. I hope that you guys going to stay well and give me a big smile at the end of the day. And hopefully I'm gonna catch you up on chapter 11. Victoria, you remember that? I will post chapter summary very soon. And you guys go and have a wonderful night. Take good care. Bye bye.